Farming is a right pain, but someone's got to do it. People need to eat, and that's where we come in. We're the ones who grow the food, raise the animals, and keep the shelves stocked. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like looking out over a field of contented cows, knowing you're playing a part in feeding the world. Now, I've always been one for trying new things on the farm, so when someone mentioned this whole integrated dairy and poultry farming business, my ears perked up. It's about combining cows and chickens on the same farm, and let me tell you, it makes a lot of sense. Think about it. Chickens need food, cows produce manure, and we're always looking for ways to be more efficient. It's a win-win. Plus, it's good for the environment, which is something we all need to be thinking about these days. This isn't just some harebrained scheme I cooked up after a few too many pints down in the pub. It's a real way to make farming more profitable and sustainable. So buckle up as we delve into the wonderful world of integrated dairy and poultry farming. You might just learn a thing or two. Right, let's get down to brass tacks. Integrated dairy and poultry farming isn't about just throwing some chickens in with your cows and hoping for the best. It's about running two businesses as one well-oiled machine. We're talking about producing top-notch milk and eggs while being kind to our wallets and the planet. First things first, we want to make a decent living, right? This means producing high-quality milk and eggs that people actually want to buy. None of that watery milk or pale-yolked eggs you sometimes see. We're aiming for the good stuff. Secondly, we need to think about the environment. Farming can be a messy business, but it doesn't have to be a burden on the planet. By using waste wisely and reducing our footprint, we can keep the farm running for generations to come. And let's not forget about our local community. Farming provides jobs and supports local businesses. It's all about keeping those wheels turning. So there you have it. High-quality production, environmental responsibility, and local economic development. That's what we're aiming for. It's about doing things right by the animals, by the land, and by ourselves. After all, a happy farmer is a productive farmer. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the stars of the show, the cows and the chickens. We're not talking about just any old birds and bovines here. We want the best of the best. On the dairy side, we're thinking Holstein Friesians for their impressive milk yields, or maybe some Jersey cows for their rich, creamy milk. It all depends on what the market demands. As for the chickens, we've got options. Laying hens like Rhode Island Reds and Leghorns are your go-to for a steady supply of eggs. But if you're feeling adventurous, why not throw in some meat birds like Cornish Cross for good measure? Diversification is the spice of life, as they say. Now, here's where things get interesting. Remember all that manure the cows produce? Well, it's not just waste, it's valuable fertilizer. Spread it on the fields, and it'll help grow the crops that feed the chickens. And guess what? The chicken manure is fantastic fertilizer too. It's a beautiful, smelly cycle of life. Section 4, Cows, Chickens, and the buildings they live in. Let's talk real estate, shall we? Cows and chickens, charming as they are, need a place to call home, and not just any old shed will do. We're talking about comfortable, well-ventilated spaces that keep the animals happy and healthy. For the cows, a spacious barn with plenty of room to move around is essential. We'll need milking parlours, feeding stations, and all the mod cons a modern dairy cow expects. And don't forget about pasture. Cows need to graze on fresh grass, so plenty of open space is a must. As for the chickens, a free-range system is the way to go. Give those birds some room to roam, scratch around in the dirt, and enjoy the fresh air. We'll need sturdy coops for laying eggs and sheltering from the elements, but the more space they have to strut their stuff, the better. And here's a nifty trick. We can build the chicken coops near the cow pastures. This way, the chickens can feast on the insects that buzz around the cows, providing natural pest control. It's all about working with nature, not against it. Section 5, Got Milk? The Mooney Business of Dairy. Now let's talk about the Mooney side of things. The dairy industry is a massive market, and there's plenty of potential for a well-run dairy operation to rake in a tidy profit. But it's not as simple as just squirting some milk into a bottle and slapping a label on it. First off, we need to decide what kind of dairy products we want to produce. Are we talking milk, cheese, yogurt, or the whole shebang? Each product requires different equipment, processing methods, and marketing strategies. Once we've got our products sorted, we need to find a market for them. Are we selling locally to supermarkets and restaurants, or are we aiming for national distribution? The price of milk fluctuates, so we need to be savvy about pricing and marketing to ensure a steady stream of income. And let's not forget about quality control. Consumers demand high-quality, safe dairy products, and we need to meet those expectations. Regular testing, hygienic practices, and meticulous record-keeping are non-negotiable. Section 6. Cluck and collect the egg-sellent poultry market. Now let's talk poultry. Eggs are a staple food in many cultures, and the demand for high-quality, ethically sourced eggs is constantly growing. This is where our feathered friends come in. Like the dairy side, we need to decide what kind of egg products we're offering. Standard white eggs, brown eggs, organic, free range. Each has its own market and price point, so we need to do our homework. We can even explore specialty eggs like duck eggs or quail eggs, which often fetch a premium price. And let's not forget about the meat birds. Selling chicken meat can be a lucrative addition to our poultry operation. Marketing is key. Consumers are becoming increasingly aware of where their food comes from and how it's produced. Highlighting our sustainable, ethical farming practices can give us a competitive edge in the market. We can sell directly to consumers at farmers markets, local shops, or even online.